Hello and welcome back to the final speedrun of chapter 2.5. And after this, we'll be moving on to the chapter summary. So yeah, if you made it all the way here, congratulations. And this final speedrun will be focusing on combining everything you've learned over this chapter and solving some problems. So the final exercise, 2S. Oh wow, we've done 19 exercises this chapter. Wow. But it's just all about questions about function translations, but combining knowledge from all parts. And I'll do the even questions this time. There's sadly only 2 of them, but that's okay because we have lots more in the chapter review. And so we need to do this. So transform the first function to the second function, showing the graphs at each stage. So at most we'll have, I think, 3 graphs, 4 if you don't choose to combine the horizontal and vertical translations. So the first thing we need to do is we need to transform the function, the absolute value of x, onto the graph of 1/2 f times x over 2 plus 3 minus 2. So first things first, let's do the horizontal and vertical dilation because I guess it's the easiest. So as for the vertical dilation, we have 1 over 2. So we know that we will actually be compressing this graph. So the first new graph will look like the blue line here. To get the horizontal dilation, we have to actually edit this function a little, so it looks something more like 1/2 of f times 1/2 of x plus 6 with, minus 2, which is actually the more correct form. So the horizontal dilation is 1/2. Sorry, the reciprocal of the horizontal dilation is 1/2, so the real horizontal dilation is 2. So we're stretching it out by 2. So now we have a new graph that looks something more like this. And it's gonna, yeah. I know it looks like it's being pushed down vertically, but that's because it's a, yeah, I can't do anything about it. And so finally we need to translate this by this column vector over here, which would be -6, -2. So we'll just take this point over here as the reference point, and we will translate it 6 units left and 2 units down, so the new origin will be here. And so the graph should look something like that. Have we missed anything out? 1/2 f of x over 2 plus 3 minus 2. And I think that should be correct. I think the mark scheme has just forgotten about the absolute value, and so they've just made this line continue traveling downwards, which I think is incorrect, because it should be going back up technically. Yeah. X over 2, function of x over 2 plus 3, yeah. Okay. So that was it for the first question, and on to the final question. 2-question speedrun. So we have f of x is equal to 1 over x, and we need to translate it onto the graph of 3 f of -2x plus 3 minus 1. So first let's convert this into the correct form of 3f of -2 times x minus 1.5 minus 1. So what does the original graph look like? Well, the original graph is simply 1 over x, so that will look something like this. Now let's tackle the vertical translation, which is a stretch of 3. And a stretch of 3 would make the graph look something a bit more like this. And next we have the horizontal translation of -2. So remember, we will then actually compress the graph by a factor of -1/2. So then we would end up with an inverted graph like this. Oh, sorry, I need to follow the blue line. And finally, we need to translate it by 1.5 -1. So our final graph would end up looking something like this. So 1.5 to the left and -1 up. And so -1 down. So it would look something like this, I believe. Is that correct? Sorry, I have no idea what they've done because they put the wrong graph in the mark scheme. So we'll just have to assume that my answer is correct. That was all for this very quick speedrun, but now we have a much longer one awaiting us for the chapter review. I hope to see you there.